Well, hey guys, we're back. In today's video, we're heading into the drugstore and I'm going to share with you my top recommendations for affordable skincare for scars. Number one mistake to avoid when it comes to scars is assuming that there is a single best treatment for scars. Scars often require different procedures, different approaches combined to get the maximal result. Mistake number two, confusing surface changes like persistent redness, hyperpigmentation with scarring. They're not the same thing. Yes, you can have hyperpigmentation and redness overlying a scar. You can have redness within a scar. But in today's video, we're going to talk about ingredients that address all of these things: the redness, the dark spots, the thick and raised scars, and the indented, depressed scars. Now, a topical retinoid can go a long way for a variety of these issues. This is adapalene. It's an acne treatment. It's a retinoid. There's also prescription retinoids like tretinoin, tazarotene, trifarotene. If you have a raised, thickened scar, over time this can help soften and smooth the surface of the raised, thickened scar. Topical retinoids such as adapalene also can improve collagen production in the deeper layers of the skin. So if you have a depressed scar, that can help subtly soften a bit and plump the skin. Now, it will not get rid of those, but it can, over time, with consistent use, improve the appearance. Plus, if your scarring is due to acne, this will help control and prevent future breakouts. Now, this alone may not be enough to control your acne, but it's a good starting point. And that's important because so long as the acne goes untreated, addressing the scarring is futile because you have that process going on that is driving the scarring. This is the exact same thing, different brand, adapalene, also going to be helpful for hyperpigmentation. It helps slow down the pigment producing process and helps lift up the hyperpigmentation up out of the skin. Plus, it's anti-inflammatory. Now, if adapalene is not up your alley, retinol is a version of topical vitamin A that also can have some benefits. Not an FDA-approved treatment for anything. It's a cosmetic ingredient, but with long-term consistent use may also improve collagen production. This particular product is inspired by CeraVe's Resurfacing Retinol Serum. It has licorice root and niacinamide. The licorice root is helpful for redness. The niacinamide is also helpful for both redness and hyperpigmentation. So this can be really helpful for overlying surface changes and possibly subtly soften the appearance of the depression of depressed scars. Now, these hydrocolloid patches are helpful for people who have breakouts because they help reduce picking, but they also serve as a protective barrier against frictional forces that can lead to the type of thick and raised scars. So if you have acne that often heal with thick and raised scars, this might help cut down on the picking as well as just protect it from those forces. But regardless of if it's a scar, regardless of if it is redness or hyperpigmentation, sun protection, sun protection, sun protection. That's the name of the game. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun, including the UVA rays that come through window glass, do impair the healing process. They also upregulate the factors that lead to hyperpigmentation, inflammation, redness, etc. Now, whatever sunscreen you like enough to use consistently, that is the one to use. I don't care if it's all mineral, I don't care if it's hybrid, I don't care if it is chemical. The one that you like, that's going to be the best. But I will mention that a tinted sunscreen might get you a little bit something extra in terms of the realm of hyperpigmentation, because the iron oxides in tinted sunscreens can help protect to a certain extent against blue light. That is visible light. It's not ultraviolet radiation, though it does come from the sun, and the sun's blue light is the one you need to concern yourself with. That blue light, for people who have deeper skin tones, can exacerbate hyperpigmentation, and a tinted sunscreen offers some protection against that. Also, your makeup that's tinted, like foundations, also can protect. So if you're wearing a foundation over your scar, that also will get you a little bit, but you don't get ultraviolet radiation protection from that. Now, those of you who have been around the over-the-counter hyperpigmentation game for some time now, you probably are familiar with Ambi. Ever since hydroquinone was removed from the market, the Ambi Fade Cream is not unique compared to other skincare products. It no longer has hydroquinone. It has niacinamide. It has vitamin C, which both of those can be helpful for for dark spots and redness. But guess what? Like the vast majority of moisturizers and things on the market have that. And Ambifade cream also has a strong fragrance, which can be irritating, and the irritation, this is key, the irritation, anything that is irritating to your skin can aggravate redness, hyperpigmentation, make scarring more stubborn, more involved. This right here is one of the most evidence-based things for raised scars. Going on 40 years of use for raised scars. We're talking the silicone scar sheets. Intended to be worn around the clock, can often be reused, comfortable, flexible, protect against frictional forces, also help hydrate the scar and reduce certain triggers and pathways that lead to more scar formation. What about maderma? Maderma is an allantoin skin protectant with onion bulb extract. Onion bulb extract may have some anti-inflammatory compounds in it that could in theory be helpful for scars. Allantoin is a good ingredient for scars. Any skin protectant, you know, if you pick up a product and it says active ingredient, and then purpose skin protectant, that can ultimately be helpful for a scar, whether it's petroleum jelly, whether it's dimethicone, glycerin, all by lubricating, hydrating, and protecting. This also has sodium hyaluronate, the salt of hyaluronic acid, that's very hydrating. It does have fragrance though, which again can be irritating and ultimately aggravate scars. So not like the best option. You'd be much better off with just the plain medical grade silicone. And yes, I know, I'm always talking about how medical grade skincare is not a real thing. There's no such thing as medical grade skincare, but there is such a thing as medical grade silicone, as opposed to like machine lubricant silicone, for example. It's silicone that's safe for medical use, so it is a real thing, medical grade silicone. Speaking of which, maderma also has silicone scar sheets, so same thing we just talked about, great for raised scars. Now, silicone is not going to address depressed scars. If you have ice pick scars, rolling scars, boxcar scars, this is not going to do anything. There we're talking sun protection, possibly topical retinoid like adapalene, and interventions like laser resurfacing, TCA cross. Also, a drop of filler in depressed scars can smooth out and plump up the skin surface. Check out my video on fillers for scars. I go into more detail there in terms of what to expect. There's also silicone tape. This provides good compression to reduce the forces that lead to thickening. Silicone scar sheets, strips, also really good if you are planning to have a C-section, recently had a C-section, to put on the scar to prevent thickening and help it to heal optimally. But getting back to what I was saying earlier about anything that's a skin protectant can be really helpful for raised, thickened scars because it lubricates the scar and cuts down on friction. And a lot of scar formation, raised, thickened scars known as hypertrophic scars, a lot of what tips the balance in favor of that forming is the body site location. So the central chest is a common area for thickened raised scars because you have a lot of tension there. Keeping that skin lubricated can definitely help. Likewise, can be helpful for keloid scars. Keloid scars are a type of thickened raised scar that, in contrast to a hypertrophic scar, can extend beyond the borders of the initial injury. So if you got a cut that was a line, a hypertrophic scar will only be in that line. A keloid will put claws out. Keloid literally is like a crab claw. That's the meaning of the word. Now, I'm always raving about petroleum jelly, brand name Vaseline, a skin protectant, but mineral oil, whether it be baby oil, although that has fragrance, or just mineral oil USP as a lubricant for the skin, another option. CVS always upcharges for their mineral oil. A lot of scars can also be very painful, itchy, and restrict mobility, like burn scars. You know, if you have a big scar over your hand, it can really get in the way of quality of life. These topicals that we've talked about that are skin protectants that lubricate, petroleum jelly, mineral oil, allantoin, silicone, dimethicone, which is a silicone, they will help alleviate some of those symptoms of itch and discomfort. Speaking of itch and discomfort, if you have a raised, thickened scar that is itchy, a hydrocortisone can help with the itch, applied twice a day for like 2 weeks at a time, solely for the itch. Now, for thickened raised scars, a treatment is actually steroid, either injected in, most commonly directly into the scar to soften it, or sometimes a topical potent steroid can also be prescribed and effective. This is too weak to soften a raised scar, whether it be hypertrophic or keloid, but might help alleviate some of the itch. I know what you're thinking, she's getting distracted in the office supply section. She doesn't need any more pens. Let's get back on track. Oh, no, 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 no. So one thing that can totally change the trajectory of healing for a raised scar is compression, whether it be keloid or hypertrophic. And if you've ever had a keloid scar or hypertrophic scar treated, there's a good chance your doctor recommended perhaps some form of compression therapy. For example, a lot of people get keloid scars on the earlobe related to ear piercing, and treating those usually with steroid injections, but wearing these special earrings from the company Delasco that are compression, they're like these clear plastic things you clip on there, squeezes down that scar and it helps it to soften. Several years ago there was a case report in the medical literature of using binder clips to do the same thing as a cost-effective option for compression for keloid scars. Keloid scar on the earlobe, this can really help. Not going to work on other body sites, right? But on the earlobe, yes. Those of you who watched my video on how to fade redness, you'll recall this tip, but persistent redness within scarring or overlying surface redness, known as post-inflammatory erythema, like from healing acne, oxymetazoline actually can help to lessen that. And that is what is in Afrin nasal spray. Just put a little bit on your finger, rub it into the redness. There we have it, the La Roche-Posay Cicaplast gel. We're talking about glycerin as a skin protectant. You can't really see it so well there. But this product also has compounds from centella. That's a botanic ingredient. Extracts from that can actually be helpful for healing. So another great option. I also want to talk about tranexamic acid in this product. This product has a very strong fragrance, which can be irritating, so this might not be the best option, but it's the only one I'm really seeing here that has tranexamic acid. As a side note, e.l.f. makes a tranexamic acid containing lotion that would be a great option, but tranexamic acid is something that we give by mouth to treat melasma, but applied topically, it shows a lot of promise for post-inflammatory erythema. Also, it's good for the moisture barrier. And ultimately, that's going to be beneficial because anything that's good for the moisture barrier ultimately allows for better hydration, better natural exfoliation of the skin, more efficient, and reduced penetration of irritants, microbes into the area that you're trying to baby along. Chemical exfoliants like alpha hydroxy acids, glycolic, lactic, mandelic, as well as salicylic acid can be really helpful for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, the dark discoloration that might overlie a scar, by helping to clear and lift it up out of the skin through the exfoliation processes, provided it is not irritating. Okay, big take-home point. Anything that's irritating can worsen all of these issues for you. I have a video reviewing this product specifically, as well as how to use an alpha hydroxy acid like glycolic acid. So I give a lot of tips in those videos, but take-home point, these can be helpful for surface changes, but they're unlikely to do anything for true scars, whether it be raised scars or depressed scars. Except 12% or higher lactic acid in amlactin, it's called ammonium lactate, shows promise for improving not just the surface change, but also the deeper layers of the skin. Specifically with regards to wrinkles, could potentially also help soften the rough sloping, if you will, of a depressed scar. But what about bio oil? Okay, bio oil, anyone who says that this is helpful, they're getting essentially the benefits, like I said, of using mineral oil to lubricate the scar, cut down on frictional forces. But they're adding in a steeper price point, $38.49, mind you, plus fragrance, which again can be irritating. Not always, but for some people it can be irritating. Fragrance and essential oils ultimately will worsen the appearance of the scar. So this is not something I recommend, but people who use it and claim that it helped their scars, just know it worked by lubricating the skin surface. You can get that same effect for half the price without the risk of irritation from fragrance, just by using mineral oil or any of the skin protectants we talked about earlier. So one thing about this e.l.f. acne fighting putty primer is that the salicylic acid can help not just with blackheads and whiteheads of acne, but also with the overlying hyperpigmentation. But the green can mask redness, can provide some cosmetic camouflage. If you have acne, don't just bail on your acne treatments once the acne clears up. Talk to your dermatologist. In most cases, you would continue using them even when the skin is clear to prevent future breakouts, and a lot of the active acne treatments can help begin to address the scars too. Well guys, that's a wrap up with regards to the best drugstore options for really all different types of scars. There is no one single best treatment, and most of what I went over in today's video is not going to really be adequate. Might be adequate along with patience, time, and correction of underlying abnormality of correcting overlying surface residues of dark spots, redness, but nothing that we talked about today will completely eliminate a scar, whether it be raised or depressed. Don't confuse scarring and surface change like dark spots and redness, because the dark spots and redness oftentimes will improve with time and patience. But scars, in order to change them, improve upon them, they need interventions and usually a multi-pronged approach with different procedures. And the best procedure or procedures depends on so many factors: the type of scar, the location, the age of the scar, the background skin type. All of these things come together for scars. Now, one issue within scarring that we did not address in there is hypopigmentation within a scar, meaning the scar has healed with a white mark, as often happens. There are treatments that can stimulate the color to return, but there's nothing that you can do as far as a product that you can buy and apply, or a remedy, a modality that will bring back color in those hypopigmented scars. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video useful. I have a lot of videos on scarring here on this channel. I'm going to put one of them on the end slate, but if you guys enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!